Welcome back to the channel, and today we're here for another video of my braces updates for this month of May. And we're just going to talk about a couple of points or updates that has been happening for the past month, and I've come up with 4 points that I'm going to talk about. So we're gonna start off with the photos that I had last January, and then we're going to compare it with the progress by showing the photos of my braces for this month. And aside from that, I'm gonna share one comment that was left by one of the viewers in one of my braces updates. He shared something about the torque. I also brought it up with my orthodontist, so we'll see what he said or she said. Aside from that, I'm also going to talk about the duration of my braces and also share maybe some personal stuff or insights that has been happening for the past years of having my second orthodontic treatment. And also, maybe later on, I'm gonna add some points if ever I recall that I might need to share more. So, if you're curious and you want to know what's been happening with my braces, then you might want to keep watching. All right, so as I've said earlier, I'm going to compare the photos that I have last January and for this month of May. And I'm going to check it out using my phone because it's here. So let's start first with the January. Let's start with the front. So for the January, we have here, you see that green rubber. And for May, we have this sort of blue, light blue, very light blue that I have right now. So as you can see in these two photos, in the front view, there's nothing significant of a difference for those two. But for May, you'll see that there's a gap between my two front incisors. And for January, there's none. I think the front view isn't a good comparison of the progress because you can actually see the difference, like the real difference or the progress when we check the side view of my teeth. But yeah, I think for this photo, you'll definitely know that there is, which is I think is normal, that the midline, they're not aligned, same as first January photo. And aside from that, I don't know if you noticed, but I think the left side, you can see that there's a gap. So for May, there is progress because the gap are slowly closing. So next photo that I'm gonna share is the left side of my teeth, and you can definitely see, especially at the lower jaw, that the gaps are a bit near with each other, and there's really a difference, right? I would see there's really a difference with that. But imagine starting from January and then February, March, April, maybe 3 to 4 months, that is the movement of my teeth. So I don't know if those who have wearing braces, if you keep track of the movement or the progress of your teeth, is this same as yours or was yours a bit faster than mine? But anyway, it's a good progress, I would think. Although, if you try to think of it, I had my premolars extracted 2 years ago already. I would say that was 2023, and now we're 2025, and still it hasn't closed. So, yeah. You also find in the photo that there is still a gap at the upper jaw, so it hasn't closed. So, I would say that the upper jaw will have a faster movement if the lower jaw are already fixed or the gaps are closed. So the reason why it hasn't closed yet is because the lower gaps are still open. So yeah, that's for the left side. Now moving on to the right side, which is this one. Again, this is the January and this is May. You see the gap is slowly closing compared to the other side. But for the January and you compare it to May, I think that would be around like 1 millimeter of a gap. So hopefully by 2 months from now, the right side will close. I also wonder why these two gaps, the left and the right, they're not progressing in a similar time frame. So yeah, I don't know if that's normal or what. So I would say there's real progress there, but it's too slow because I think in a month it's only 1 millimeter of movement of the teeth. That's what I saw and I've read in some of the articles talking about orthodontics. And for the upper gap, if you compare the gap, the size is a little bit smaller compared to the past 3 to 4 months. That's it, the comparison for the January and May. And we know that there is progress. And if you do have also this similar thing going on in your braces, then you might also like to comment below and share with me what's been happening with your orthodontic treatment. Let's move on to the next thing that I'm going to share in this video, and that is the torque. So, in one of my videos last January, one of the viewers commented and he shared something about a procedure in orthodontic. I think they call like a root torque. Anyway, in that video, there is like two torques they were talking about. One is buccal root torque, and the other one is palatal root torque. They were talking about. I mean, the ortho was talking about. In my case, my teeth would probably need the buccal root torque because my four front incisors at the upper jaw is a little bit angled and tilted. So it's like the roots. For example, we have the roots, right? The roots and then the crown. So for the forefront teeth, you'll see that it's a bit angled. So even though, in orthodontics, one of the things that the ortho would always look for is when they move the teeth backwards, when you had your premolars extraction, they always take note of the canine. It should be upright, something like straight, upright, the canine, and it should be aligned with the lower canine here at the bottom, and while closing the gaps. Now, in my case, what happened is my forefront incisors, upper and lower, is a bit tilted actually. And I think one of the most noticeable ones are the upper jaw incisors. Although the lower incisors, which is this one, they're also a bit tilted. So you'll see it here and then here. In that video, it says that in my case, a buccal root torque can be applied so that the forefront teeth will be a little bit angled back so that they won't like flare again. Because the reason why the premolars were extracted is because of the flaring. Now, even if the premolars were extracted, the forefront teeth is still a bit flared out. I don't know how to explain this because I'm not an orthodontist, but there's something like a movement, a special movement, the torque they say, to have the right angle. Now, I brought it up with my orthodontist, and the orthodontist that answered my question was actually the husband of my real ortho, because that time when I had my braces adjustment, she wasn't available. So I asked him, and then he said that in my case, the torque cannot be, how do you say this, applicable, or it won't work because he shared something about my bones here at the upper. He was talking about that the bone of my teeth cannot cannot handle the torque. You'll see that the layer is a bit thin, so you'll see the veins. So that is not a good indicator of the torque. So he said that the best thing that they can do is to just retract the teeth, meaning they're just gonna push it backwards. Because I don't know in orthodontist how torques are done. That's what he said. So what happened is they would just retract the teeth. And aside from that, he also showed me a photo of one of their patients. And then he explained to me that you have the same case as him or her, but we were able to do it correctly, like retracting the forefront teeth. So yeah, just trust the process and we'll see for the coming months or by the end of 2025 of what will happen with my forefront four incisors at the upper jaw. Also, I'd like to thank the viewer that commented that because I have no idea about this stuff. And somehow, when he shared that, it's an added knowledge to me, and also maybe for the viewers right now that's watching this video. Before I end this video, maybe I'm gonna share other updates and some observations that I had with my braces or my teeth. And for example, in terms of my gaps, on an average, the teeth, especially those that have premolar extraction, it would only take 2 years for them to close the gaps. I don't know why mine is taking so long to have these gaps closed, but I know that there's still progress in there. It's just that it's not the usual thing. So it gives us a confirmation that not every case is the same, and mine is taking a bit longer than the usual. I've also learned that it's harder to move the teeth at the lower jaw compared to the upper jaw. That's what my orthodontist said. And so they're focusing right now at the lower jaw and closing the gaps. And then later on, we'll close the upper gap of my teeth. Now, my concern for this month is, if you've been watching my videos, I think my root canal teeth are still there. And right now, I think I feel a bit of a discomfort or pain with my root canal teeth. I don't know why, because I haven't visited my dentist yet and haven't had it checked, but maybe I will have to have it checked this week. And I'm gonna update you with that, with the next braces adjustment, which is going to be in June. And I think that's it for this month. If ever you have like the same case with my braces, with my orthodontic treatment, then please don't hesitate to comment down below. And I think it would be nice to exchange messages of what's going on with our braces, especially with the adult braces that we have. But also, if you're a TN and you have your braces, you can also message me if you have any questions. Anyway, if you're new here, you can subscribe to the channel if you want more about braces updates, and if you want anything about talking about orthodontics and stuff based on my own experience. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next update.